Hey everybody, welcome back to Eat and Talk. You guys, do you notice something different? We are in a new setting today. I promise you I'm not going to fall asleep, but I am very cozy and I'm with someone who warms my heart and soul. Um Today I have my guest Nasrieen. Thank you for joining. Well, I shouldn't say thank you. Thank you for letting me join you.
Of course.
You guys, Nasreen, oh my God, this episode is just going to be so special. So, first of all, we are at the Underground Cafe. And I can't believe this is my first time here. We've spoken so much about it.
Yeah.
But Nasreen is the beautiful founder, and it is a underground cafe, literally, where you can come. And she's made me very special drinks today. She made me an apple matcha, and then she made me a white chocolate chai pumpkin mocha. Dirty. See, you
White
listen.
mocha.
All of my favorite things in the world. So my heart is full, alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
But we're going to dive into it. Nasreen, thank you for joining us. Nasreen is the founder of many, many amazing projects. So go ahead and introduce yourself and let my viewers know who you are and a little bit about you.
Yeah. My name is Nasreen. Um, I am the founder of what is mostly known for as Hiking Hijabi. Hiking Hijabi is a hiking group for Muslim sisters and their children. We recently added.
Here, by the way, y'all,
Yeah.
I'm wearing the Hiking Hijabie. You see
Yeah.
this? The merch. Sorry to be so
Welcome.
yes, and right here,
Yeah.
like, look how amazing this logo is, you
Yeah.
guys. Like, I'm obsessed. So I
And
just wanted you guys to peep that.
Yeah, thanks to my friend Amanah, she created the logo for me.
Beautiful logo.
So Hiking Hijabi started about 3 years ago. And it started out just me wanting to just hike on the weekends with some girls. I didn't feel safe doing it by myself. I used to go hike a lot. And after, the political climates that we've been having with Donald Trump. And so it just like the outdoors didn't become a safe haven as it used to be. So I was like, okay, let me see if there's other sisters who are interested in, joining me. And so Hiking Hijabi just came out of there, and then it just blew up. There was so much demand. There are so many people who are in the group chat right now who partake in the activities, but we started with literally not even 9 adults and like 3 kids.
Which is still a big group.
It is a big
to
group.
start. Yeah.
Yeah. But a year later, we wanted to do activities with our family members. So we did add Hiking Ummah, which allows both, men and women to come together and hike together. And we do so much more than hiking. We do all outdoor activities. And then right now we are officially a nonprofit organization under the umbrella name of Amanah Recreational Project. Amanah Recreational Project means it's about reviving Islamic values of environmental sustainability through outdoor activities. And what I hope to do is, while we're in the outdoors, talk about our role as Muslims and what is Allah commanding us when He tells us uphold the Amanah, which is uphold the trust. How are we doing that right now, especially seeing with the rise of climate change and people impacted? As Somalis, we've been seeing climate change impact our home country for the past 30 plus years. With the 2008 famine and drought being one of the worst that we've seen, and having right now climate refugees all around the world, not just in Somalia, even locally, people being displaced by it. And so my goal is to actually look back to our deen for answers and see how we can do better. With that came Ecodaria.
Yes.
Oh my God.
I told you
It's
guys,
like
a woman of many amazing foundations.
So Ecodaria is our clothing line, which represents Muslims in the outdoors. You're wearing the Hiking Hijabi.
Listen, y'all.
line.
Like, how cute is this hood? Like,
Yeah.
and I got like 3 other things. So
Yeah. So Ecodaria is our for-profit company, but 15% of our profits do go to sponsoring orphans and building wells in the developing country through our collaboration with ARAHA. And we also have a line for gender neutral called Hiking Ummah, and it's both for brothers and sisters alike.
Yeah.
So that's a
Wow.
lot, but yeah.
No, it is. And we're going to dive into it, but I wanted you to really introduce kind of all three of the foundations that you started. So it started off with Hiking Hijabi.
Yeah.
So let's backtrack with that. So you mentioned that it started with 9 adults, 3 kids.
Yeah.
What was that experience like? How did you find these adults? And, what kind of, obviously hiking is hiking, but we're in Minnesota, just for a background. So where do you guys hike and what's it like?
So I guess to back up, it started way before that.
Okay.
I used to hike in Houston too. I'm originally from Houston, Texas.
Okay.
I shouldn't say originally because I wasn't really born here,
Yeah.
but I grew up in Houston, Texas. And when I was there, I used to be very outdoorsy and I used to hike a lot. And then I moved to Minnesota in 2012, in the winter, January.
Ooh.
Bad,
Yeah.
bad idea.
Yeah.
So I transferred to the U of M from Houston, and my first winter here was brutal. I experienced my first seasonal depression.
I'm so sorry about that. Yeah.
I was a psychology major in class and just having these out of body experiences that I didn't understand. And I remember talking to myself and saying, "You're a psych major. You need to go get help." Like, it's not even like that I didn't believe in getting counseling. It's just it didn't like come as natural to me. But I'm already like in the field and I believed in the, psychology could help me. So I just got up and I went to counseling and they were like, they diagnosed me with seasonal depression. And that was kind of like, what is this? I've never experienced it. And they were like, okay, it's lack of sun. I come from a people who are in hot regions and then lived in Houston all my life. And so coming to Minnesota was just like a culture shock and all kinds of experiences, new experiences. So then I found, comfort in the outdoors. So I had to be more outdoorsy. And so I started hiking more. And then when COVID happened, I was hiking a lot, and there was other hiking groups by the Dr. Shabazz group at that time, but things weren't consistent. So I needed to. It was my medicine. I had nature therapy was how I survived the winter months.
Nature therapy.
Yeah.
Okay. What does that mean?
So it means instead of seeking like, medicine or, talking to somebody, being in nature helped me. It's a healing. And I think it's part of our fitra that, we're part of creation. And, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us to go outside, and reflect on his creation to know his existence. How do you know Allah exists? Just go outside and look around. And you find, so much comfort in that.
Yeah.
So it's like
Just
a way.
like hearing you explain that just sounds so soothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's something that we've kind of lost just because we're so used to our four walls and our technology, and we're so disconnected from the environment. So being in nature, you're breathing, fresh air. The trees are surrounding you, and we know in our deen that they're also like reflecting on, they're making the speech. They're being grateful to Allah, and it's like what a better environment to be in. So it's definitely therapeutic. I recommend it. So I couldn't get that because of I didn't find the consistency. Other groups I joined were not as consistent, so I was like, okay, you know what, this is something I need, so I'm just gonna create it. And it wasn't meant to be like a organization. We just invite other sisters in the community, see if they wanted to hike, but do it consistently. So we picked every Saturday at 10 a.m. I picked the location and we just meet and hike. And I created a Hiking Hijabi Instagram. That's how I got the word out.
Yeah.
And then the first hike was public, but after that it was private for safety reasons. So I didn't know who was going to show up, and just 9 people showed up, and some of the girls weren't even from here. They were from Wisconsin.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so
Wow.
they were visiting, and one of the girls was from Wisconsin, and a few of them were my friends, and then just other people from the internet that I didn't know.
Wow.
From that group, we started a WhatsApp group chat so that we can share locations. And then we shared that group chat with the other hiking group, and a lot of people joined us. And so within like a month, we had over 120 members.
Wow. In just over a month.
In just over a month.
120.
Yeah.
And they were all from Minnesota or
from
like
Minnesota.
a neighboring?
No, all from Minnesota, and they were part of the other hiking group. So a lot of people joined through there. A lot of people joined through word of mouth. But just sharing that link with the other Hiking Hijabi, either hiking group, invited a lot of those sisters who are in that group to join our group, and to find like that consistency that they needed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay, so consistency is a theme. So how often did you guys then end up going on these hikes?
Every Saturday at 10 a.m.
Okay.
Rain or shine,
Wow.
all year round. And we don't cancel unless it's like extreme weather or a Islamic holiday like Eid.
I noticed that on your Instagram. So I went and looked on your Instagram and I noticed, yeah, you guys were, and actually it was kind of aesthetically pleasing seeing you guys walking in the rain or like gray clouds. And I was like, wow, this looks fun.
Yeah, people are always saying like, "Oh, it's gonna rain. Are we still gonna go for a hike?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "You just have to dress for the weather. Like, you don't need to like overthink it." I feel like there's a book I read a while ago. It's called "There's No Such Thing as Bad Weather." Only like not having proper gear. So
It's spoken by a true hiking person because I don't know. I need to adapt a little bit to that. But I love that, mashallah.
yeah, like you literally, if you want to go outside and hike in the rain, there's rain gear for that. You know, rain boots, all these things that you can do that you're still warm and cozy. Even in the winter.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's actually winter hiking is one of my favorite because your body heats up, but you're surrounded by cold air and it's so refreshing.
That does sound refreshing. So you found a way to really maneuver and navigate through your seasonal depression by enjoying every season.
Every season.
Wow.
I had to make a lot of rules at the beginning. I had, I think, about 10 rules. And from what I remember is I wanted to do everything the other hiking group was doing incorrectly. I wanted to make sure I wasn't doing the same thing. I wanted to learn from their mistakes. And some of the rules was, one, people didn't say whether or not they were coming. I didn't want to know who wasn't coming or was coming. I just created, it's like, it doesn't matter. Even if you don't come, we're still posting.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that created the inconsistency in the other hiking group was like,
They would
who's all
cancel.
coming? One or two people, we're going to cancel. So I didn't want that because I feel like
You were
negativity.
like, regardless, I'm coming with
Yeah.
or without y'all, and whoever's coming is coming.
Yeah, so when people see, oh, these many people are not coming, they don't want to come. So it creates like a negative environment. I took that away. The other thing,
Good point from,
yeah,
I'm sorry, I'm thinking from a strategic standpoint. That's a really good focal point that you got to focus on.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even like if I'm in a group chat or other groups are work related, I don't like people or me telling somebody, oh, I'm running late or I'm doing this and this. Then it gives other people permission to do the same.
Yeah.
And it creates this environment of, you know, our shortcomings being okay when we really need to work on it. I'm working on it, but I don't want to make it public because again, it's a sunnah you're starting.
It is, yeah.
So it could be a bad sunnah.
That's true.
Yeah, and so that was number one. Number two is people don't get to choose the trail. I choose the trail because then it's like, oh, why didn't you choose my trail? You know, I say you can make recommendations to me privately.
Yeah.
And then people also can't say, oh, I can't make it. Can you change the date? I've had that at the beginning. I'm like, no, we're not changing the date. We're not changing the time. You're not choosing the trail. And it was a way for me to be fair and know that it is what I wanted in the other one.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, like you're being held responsible and you don't have the stress of, you know, really just having to rely on others.
Rely on others or others thinking you're playing favoritism. Creating this like environment or like, oh, she must not like me. It's like petty thing coming out. I wanted to remove all like negative energy from the space. And so I was like, everything has to be done privately. If you want to like, you know, make a recommendation, do it privately.
Something.
Yeah. Because once you put in, especially 120 women, like that's way too many opinions.
Yeah, that is.
So,
Oh my gosh.
I was like, okay, and also people making recommendations on how we should lead, who should lead, all these things. Like, if you want to volunteer, we want volunteers, but you can't like say, oh, can you lead us here? You know, because everything was volunteer based.
Yeah.
We were not getting paid. I was not getting paid. I'm still not getting paid. It's all done voluntarily. And so I feel like a lot of times it's hard for people to understand that if you want to take responsibility, like, you have to do it. You can't tell another person how to
Right.
run stuff. And so we had to remove that, you know. And then the other thing was like people posting on the group chat. People weren't like, at the beginning I allowed people to post on the group chat, and everybody was just advertising their stuff, which cluttered the
It
group
just
chat.
became like a
Yeah. So we removed a lot of the barriers, and I tell people, just come, hike, have fun. You don't have to worry about anything. We plan and take care of everything. And by we, it's me and the people who volunteer with me. And so yeah, that's how we grew, and now we're over 730 women in our group chat.
Wow, mashallah, Allahu
Yeah.
Mubarak. That's a very, very successful group chat and
Alhamdulillah.
very successful group.
All word of mouth.
Yeah.
And social media.
And social media.
And social media, yeah.
I want to talk about the social media part, but before that, I want to mention, since you're talking about roles, what were some challenges that you do face or you did face?
I think the biggest challenge is people having certain expectations of me. People thinking that, you know, they're paying me to do a job that they're not, that I'm doing out of the kindness of my heart, because I wanted that community and I created it. I saw a void. And I feel like not having grace with me, knowing that I'm juggling a lot to make this happen. And then once I created things, people not showing up sometimes. Like, I found grants to pay for programming. Like, I did a grant with Three River Parks, and it was called Parks to People. And it was introducing our community to their park district and saying all the things that they had accessible to. And just having all the people sign up and then 10 show up.
Yeah.
And I was like, we're saying we need these services, we need these resources, and they're free. Like, you know, you don't have to pay, you just show up, and you're signing up, you're taking a spot, and then people not showing up.
Yeah.
That's really hard.
It is. Yeah. No, 100%. By the way, like, you guys, Nasrieen is also a mother. Okay. She has kids, mashallah. So I'm trying to picture, and they're young, they're both under 10.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to picture, you know, how you're able to juggle all this every weekend. And also take like the sole responsibility, since took it upon yourself to coordinate this by yourself.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a lot.
So honestly, before I think last year, when I was more leading the hikes, I would take my kids with me. Part of me being in the outdoor spaces and creating this community was also them in mind. I wanted them to grow up in nature. I wanted them to experience, you know, everything the outdoor has to offer. And that includes kayaking, camping, anything. I take them, any opportunity, anything outdoors or indoors that's active, I take them, because I don't want them to grow up in front of a TV, or like just being surrounded by like
tablets and all of this
technology. So I start with myself first and my family, and then it's like everybody else.
Yeah, good.
I created this for me first, and then my family, and then I invited everybody else to join.
I love that.
Yeah.
That is so nice. Okay, so then you expanded, and that's how Amanah Rec was created.
Yes.
So how did it kind of blossom from Hiking Hijabi into the separate chapter under this umbrella, Amanah?
Yeah. So Hiking Hijabi started out as just like, it was supposed to be just hiking. And it was supposed to be a commitment of me volunteering 2 hours on a weekend, and that's it. But because of the overwhelming number of sisters joining the group, I added on activities. So we've added like camping, bouldering, kayaking, archery. We've added bike lessons for sisters, nature and art, where we created pottery, imprinting, and we also added trips to like national parks,
Wow.
trips to state parks, our fall foliage trip, which is the third year that we are doing it. And with that, it became a full-time job.
Wow, it sounds like
It
it.
became
Yeah.
a full-time job. So at the time, I was working for Building Blocks, and so I gave them a year notice. I told them if this is going the way it is, and I would hope to make it my business, and make it my full-time job and my passion. So I think 2 years ago, I started working with other organizations to see if there's a space for me to get grants, but I didn't want to become a nonprofit.
Yeah.
I didn't want to depend on donations to run the program, so I figured people would be willing to pay for the activities. But I come to find out that a lot of our community that I serve are living paycheck to paycheck, and they can't afford to be paying for these services. So I pivoted and I became a nonprofit. And that's how the umbrella and Amanah recreational project came. And hiking was added also as a way to include
The
our
hiking aspect of it.
no our brothers and
Oh,
sisters,
brothers.
because hiking hijabi is just for women and
Okay.
children,
Yeah.
boys under 12, and then just sisters. So now with the hiking you can have the whole family experiencing the outdoors.
I
So
love that.
yeah,
That's so inclusive.
yeah.
Yeah.
We have activities specifically for hiking that are family friendly, community friendly, and then we have still sisters their own time and their
Yeah.
own things that we can do. So it's still separate but together.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, I mean, even with your background in studying psychology, can you talk a little bit about why it's important to do these activities, not just for yourself, but even involving your family, and why, brothers should be involved, and, the importance of this
Yeah,
for your
definitely.
mental health and physical health?
Yeah. I guess I can't say it better than our Prophet ﷺ said it. He said, "The best of you are the ones who are the best to their families, and I am the best to my family." I think a lot of times in the middle of everything that we do, we forget our loved ones. And so for me, it's about how can I do what I love, especially being in the outdoors, and not include my family. Like I have to create space for my family to be part of it. We're creating memories and we're doing things together. And so it's for me, it didn't start out as a work. It didn't start out as something that I'm doing as like a organization or a business. It started out as a me being in the outdoors and wanting to share that with my family, and then not feeling safe to do it. Before I started hiking hijabi, I used to go take my kids to the nature center. We used to hike, and like I have a picture of, and I used to go with some of my friends. My friend Ifrah is actually the one who was like, tell my son Ammar to go on the snow. He was crawling. I'll show you pictures. He's on the snow on his snowsuit, and he's crawling. He couldn't even walk, and he's experiencing the outdoors. And so I have sisters who are, have kids, and they're like, oh, I have my kid. I'm like, bring your kid.
Yeah.
And it helps to be in community because you have that support. You have sisters who don't have kids who will help you,
Yeah.
And I remember one time in one of the hikes, the girl was like, I have a new baby. I said, bring a carrier, come. And she's like, I can't. I said, I have a carrier. And I would carry my boys until I think, and not until I think last year, I was carrying him. And he was 5 last year. So whenever he said he was tired, I would carry him in a carrier, which is heavy.
Yeah.
So I think things can be easy if you make it.
Yeah.
They can also be hard. It's just all about how you view your cup. Is it half full or half empty?
And also that sense of community. I think that's so special, because you're right. I think what limits a lot of mothers is, they want to go out and they want to be active, but they have their kids, and, daycare is not always available. Husband might be working. So to be like, hey, like you can bring your kids, and
Absolutely.
we can support you, and you can still make time for yourself, and your kids will also be exposed to nature, and this is going to be part of their lives, and it's going to be nurturing for them. I think it's so important.
Yeah, and I remember one of the hikes, this sister had like bunch of little kids, like, all young. My husband was carrying her kid the whole time while we hiked a state park. And there's no better time to hike with your kids than when they're young.
Yeah.
Because if you don't teach them at a young age, it's going to be very hard to teach them later in life. And it's also an opportunity for you guys to do activities together to create memories. Because when you really think about all the activities, it's only for children or for men.
Yeah.
There's no activities that sisters can partake in, let alone ones that are inclusive of sister and her kids or her whole family.
Yeah.
So I think of what I need,
Yeah.
and I imagine other sisters need it, and I just created that.
Yeah. And 100%. And, coming even from a business advisor, when people come to me like, hey, like, I want to start a business, what route should I go? I'm like, well, what is it that you want to do for yourself?
Yeah.
Before you think about, what impact and who's out there and what you're serving, like,
Yeah.
what's something that you feel like is lacking?
Absolutely.
It could be like a specific, I mean, there's hundreds of coffee shops, but it's just an example. Like, you are like, hey, I want a specific type of coffee, then make it, start
Yeah.
it, and whoever else wants to join and support will support. So I think that's really good
Absolutely.
that you're able to start something, because you're absolutely right, especially when it comes to sisters. There's so much lack of programs for us out there.
Yes, there is.
Everything is serving kids and men,
Yes.
and it's like, well, we are humans too.
Yes.
And we need, activities to do.
Absolutely.
And we want to join our kids or husbands.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
why can't we all do this together?
Yeah. And I grew up a tomboy. I grew up playing basketball and playing soccer, and it's just like, it's insane to me that at some point it's like, okay, there's no opportunities for me to continue to be active, to continue to use my body in a way that is like, keeping up with just what it needs, which is like movement,
Yeah.
And so,
And especially, you mentioned this earlier, a safe space.
Absolutely.
Because obviously we're women, we're Black women, we're Muslim women.
Yeah.
So, not every place is welcoming or is designed for us.
Yes.
There's a lack of woman-only gyms. And so it's very hard to find somewhere where, and some women are comfortable going into shared spaces, but
Yeah.
not everyone is. And I think that we do need,
Absolutely.
more of that.
Especially when it comes to, modesty and also religious accommodations. Some of the things that I've done to make sure that, not the more liberal sisters, but the more religious ones are included, is ask for religious accommodations. For example, when I work with Three River Park District to teach us how to ride bikes, because a lot of us don't know how to ride bikes, we had to request for female instructors. When I'm actually right now working with a cafe that has a soccer space indoor.
Okay.
I forgot the name of the
Is it
cafe.
9th Street Coffee?
Yes.
Yeah, my son plays there,
So I have to go there, and I'm asking, okay, I wanted a space for Muslim women and their kids, and he said there's glass, and I was like, well, we need privacy. And he's like, I'm gonna look into buying curtains or a way to give you guys privacy.
So sweet.
And all you have to do is just ask for it, and people are willing to do it for you,
Yeah.
accommodate you. And one of the funny things is that every time I go somewhere where I'm eating food, especially like bar and grills, I ask them to turn off the music, and they do it.
Wow.
And people look at me like, no, you can't ask them that. Why not? I'm a customer. It's time to pray. I have to pray. All you
Yeah.
have to do is to ask. So you will never know what can happen until you.
Yeah, 100%. Another thing is like swimming. Oh my God, I wish we had more.
I'm working on it.
Are you? Okay,
Yes.
I mean, I know how to swim and ride a bike, but like I want to not forget, because I
Yeah.
learned as a kid, and obviously
Yeah.
like as a kid, like I had the flexibility, but now I'm like, I want to go to swimming pools and it be
Yeah.
only women only.
Absolutely.
And
Not even just only women. We live in a day and age where that means a lot of things. So having Muslim women
Yeah,
only
Muslim women,
space
yeah.
is very important to me. And so right now I'm collaborating with V3 Sports, and we're in the process
Just
of
gonna
trying
say,
to
I think I heard, like, I saw a post or something about V3 Sports offering classes
for women
for
only,
women
not
only,
Muslim
but
only.
not Muslim only. So you're
Yeah.
working on Muslim only.
Yes.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
And also USA Swims. I'm working with them too. And they are providing swimming lessons. So we're working to provide swimming lessons, as well as V3. I'm working to provide programming. We're seeing how that's going to look like, because they do programming right now for women only. And so really we want an additional level of additional kind of religious accommodations,
Yeah.
just because there are trans women and all these, like, it opens, the gate to anybody who considers themselves a woman. And for us, that means that we can't access that space. So how can Muslim women feel safe in their own programming?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I love that you're able to make those connections
Yeah.
with non-Muslim organizations, but to accommodate you. And I think
Absolutely.
that really shows a sense of community again and collaboration. And I that's one thing that I admire living in Minnesota for. Not
Yeah.
everywhere. You
Yeah.
can't achieve that elsewhere.
you
They would look
cannot.
at you like, what do you mean? Just
They're like,
Muslim woman?
turn down the
Like,
music. Why?
like, excuse
Like,
me, but because we have a large Muslim community here and large, East African community
Yeah.
here, they're able to, they've learned through experience and
Yeah.
respect, and it just takes education, and I don't blame people who don't understand. It takes someone like you to just sit down with them and be like, hey, this is, why, or, why I do what I do, and this is my religion, this is my needs, and same way I would respect any other religion.
Yeah, we just have different needs, and it's because of our religion. It's not like we're making up our own needs, and it's
Just like
I
everyone
think
else,
a lot of people do respect that. Honestly, they ask questions and like, okay, this is what I need, and they're willing to work with you.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
are.
there. I feel like if anything, you see a lot of kind of hesitation from our community.
Yeah.
To ask for services and accommodations, because they are like, they're not gonna do that for us.
Yeah.
Which is not true.
Yeah.
I've asked, for me, it's like the funniest story. Oh my God.
I got time.
I don't know if I should share this.
No, now you started, so you gotta share it.
Oh my God. Okay, so this past weekend, we went to Door County
Okay.
for our
Where
fall.
the heck is that?
It's Wisconsin.
Okay.
Door County
That
was.
tells me enough.
We went to Door County, Wisconsin for our fall foliage trip, and at some point we got to where we were gonna hike, and I had to use the bathroom, and I really had to go, and the nearest gas station was like 14 minutes, and I told my friends, I'm like, I have to go, I'm just gonna knock on this house. Like, I just pulled up to a house I was driving, and they're like, no, this is Wisconsin.
Yeah, that is a little risky.
So I'm like, yeah, but I'm like, you can read body language. You can, like, it's okay. Like, you can, I imagine everybody's good until they prove you otherwise. So I knock on the door, nobody answers. And then I go and I see this guy's playing golf outside, like practicing. And so I talk to him, and he comes over, and he was like older, white gentleman. And he was so nice and kind, and I told him, I'm really sorry to ask, but can I use your bathroom? And he was like, yeah. And so he let me in to his house and let me use the bathroom. I mean, that's an extreme example, but
no, that could have went two ways for sure. So I'm glad that he was a decent human being.
yeah. But I only did that because also I had, people with me, and I felt safe, and there was no way I was going to make it to the bathroom.
Yeah, 14 minutes
Like 14
away.
minutes away.
But no, it really shows, again, like, it's about who you are, you know? And like you said, I think actually, like, people can respect you when you're authentic, So when you're authentically Muslim, some of my best friendships and relationships are with people who are very much authentically Christian and like are really strong with their faith, because they can respect how you can stay true to your rights, in the same way I can respect them to stay true to theirs.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I think that's so funny. But There's a lot of stories like that, and yeah, it's
And I
funny.
had a cap on at some point in Wisconsin that says unapologetically Muslim woman.
I love that. Not Make America Great Again.
No, we did see signs that say make America great again. And I was
Yeah.
just like, yeah, this is Trumpville.
It
Like,
is definitely
yeah,
Wisconsin is
very
very,
Trump
very, yeah,
supporters.
pro
Yeah.
Trump, but no,
Yeah.
that's funny. I don't think being a Trump supporter means that you hate Muslims, but it can be a little bit intimidating.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I love that. So one thing I wanted to dive into is your passion and also your extensive knowledge of like sustainability. It's not something, I mean, we do come from a background naturally of a land of sustainability, but our generations these days,
Yeah.
the last thing that they think about is sustainability.
Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit more about why that's important for you or
Um,
to you?
I think for me, it is very important because I can't see myself apart from the people that look like me.
Yeah.
And 2008 was like kind of like a wake up call for me. Seeing images on the news of, the famine and the drought that impacted Somalia. Mothers having to leave their dead children, just walk away from that in order to save, the rest of their kids. Seeing animals, just bones died because of famine and drought. That time, I feel like there wasn't a lot of information about, climate change and all, like, it wasn't as it is right now. And so I didn't understand this word famine and drought. And so one of my friends, Saida, wanted to do something about it. So we partnered with Islamic Relief at the time. And I remember it was Ramadan. And we wanted to fundraise, for the drought. And seeing just images of people on foot fleeing to get to the outskirts of Somalia to get help at refugee camps, being displaced not because of a war but because of climate change. And it was just something that particular image I can relate to. I left Somalia when I was about 4 years old, and it was like the civil war. And I remember that exact kind of journey my family and I taking. When the war broke out, my mom and all of our neighbors and everybody just got into this pickup truck. At some point, the pickup truck just stopped in the middle of the road because it was overloaded. And so we had to get off and continue on foot. And then my mom was taking turns carrying between me and my sister Ikran. It was hot. We were walking all day. And so at some point I would be tired. And so she'd put Ikran down and pick me up and then continue on like that until we got until it became dark and we had to spend the night in the forest, and then it rained. And so it's like cold and hungry and thirsty and rain. It was just like that experience, like seeing those images, like kind of brought back those memories. The next day, there were like puddles of water, rainwater, and we had to drink that because we would have died of thirst, just until we got to the next town. And so I saw myself and those experiences, in that those news articles and videos and stuff like that. And I felt like, okay, we're gonna raise the funds, donate it, and that was it. So in a way, I feel like Allah was always guiding me to do this work, because if it wasn't for that experience, and if it wasn't for me being Somali and that happening to Somalia, and eventually in college taking one sustainability class, and like all these things that like the ripple effect, right? Like Allah has his plans, and it doesn't all happen and show itself at once. Like it's just your life story. You look back and I'm like, wow, this is what he was preparing me for. And so then when I had my son Adnan, I was just watching videos of the impact of, again, climate change. I became a minimalist. So about 6 years ago, I would watch documentaries like The True Cost, which talks about the fast fashion industry. At that time also, there was like a huge building that collapsed in Bangladesh, where it was like people were making clothes for H&M and all these other fast fashion brands. And so seeing all of that and saying I'm contributing to that, and it's just like wanting answers, looking for YouTube at all these like bloggers and like YouTubers, and they were all white. They're like white people are the ones who are like promoting sustainability and minimalism. And I was like, what does Islam say? I want to see some Muslims, and I found none at the time. So then I was like, okay, I'm going to look into this. And then looking into our deen and actually understanding this is something that's rooted in Islam, understanding that it's the Sunnah and the Quran teaches us, the verse in Surah Al-Baqarah that talks about Allah giving the trust, Amanah, to the heavens and the earth, and they've declined it because the weight of it was too heavy for them to carry. And then Bani Adam saying like, we're gonna do it, right? And then Allah telling us that all of creation was like for you, like son of Adam, but what's better is all of creation, and just that checks and balances of, we need each other. Allah created creation for us, but also we need to take care of it. And just all these things started aligning. So then I read The Green Deen, which is the only book that I could find at the time that talked about the Islamic perspective on environmental sustainability.
The Green Dean. I like that
The
title.
Green Dean, yeah. The guy who wrote it, his name is Abdul Martin, and he passed away, I think, last year. He's an African-American author from New York, and he's, I believe, a born Muslim. And so he talks about what Islam says. And so it was refreshing to see that.
Yeah.
I was like, finally, a Muslim perspective. Yeah. Then I saw some, hadiths and stuff like that. I say, what does the Prophet ﷺ say? And there were so many like different hadiths. One of them was like, Sahabi was one time making wudu in front of a river, and he was using a lot of water. So the Prophet ﷺ told him, only use what you need. And he was like, but there's abundance. We're in front of a river. And he goes, the Prophet ﷺ told him that even if you're in front of a river, you only use what you need, because wastefulness is not a part of Islam. It's being close to like satanic, like for you to be wasteful. And so then also eating from the closest part of your plate, how does that apply to modern day eating local food?
Yeah.
Instead of eating food that is from, I don't know, across the globe, eat local food. And it was beautiful to like see how the Quran is like forever applicable to any day, any time. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. And I love that. Do you feel like our community can do a better job at living a more sustainable life?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that they don't understand. We are very much a faith-based community.
Yeah.
Our deen is a way of life. Islam is like a lived experience. It's not like we're not spiritual people. We're very much, our deen is very much active. Like, from the moment you wake up, you have a dua that you're saying. You go to the bathroom, you have a dua. You're eating food, you have a dua. You enter your house, you have a dua. You buy new clothes, you have a dua. So it's literally, there's a dua and a saying for every act that you do every day, and we pray 5 times a day. And if we understood what Islam teaches us about living more sustainably, I feel like we would apply it.
Yeah.
I don't think that a lot of Muslims really know what Islam says about environmental sustainability or even minimalism. I think it's the concept of minimalism. We see it from we see it from a concept of reducing your waste, but it's really not. When you look at Islamic value of minimalism, it's about detachment from the world, right? It's not about the amount of stuff that you have, but that stuff is not in your heart, because it's like at any moment you can leave, and it's like you're not, you're not worried. Like your whole house can burn down, but are you gonna cry about it, or you understand that this is like of this world and just move on?
Yeah.
We're supposed to live like travelers. A traveler packs it very light. There's not a lot of stuff that we carry with us, and that's intentional. And I feel like right now things that are values that are part of Islam are becoming mainstream, but not by Muslims.
That is true.
How do we own that narrative? How do we revive Islamic values of these things, but use it in a way that aligns with our values?
Yeah, absolutely. What advice do you have, or where do you think Muslim people can start to live a life like that?
I think number one is education. Knowledge is powerful. You need to have a way to live your life, and we already have that. It's in the Quran. Think of, for example, as basic as when you're making wudu. You're not in front of a river, but you have a faucet. Are you letting your faucet run full blast, or are you adjusting it to make sure you're only getting what you need? Are you buying enough food that you just need for the week for you and your family? Or are you buying so much that it goes bad and you're throwing it away? Also, where are you throwing it? Are you composting it, or are you putting it in the trash? All of that matters, because the food that doesn't get composted ends up in a landfill, creating worse, pollution
For the environment.
for the environment, and it's cancer causing. So our way of life, like the way we live, the way we use resources, is impacting us, but we don't see it. It's all in the air. And then you see it impacts more people who live in developing countries like Somalia. But the sad part is they don't even have access to the infrastructure or the resources, but they're the ones impacted the most.
Absolutely.
So it's like, how do we make a connection between our deen, what it commands us to do as Muslims, our hometowns, and people who are being impacted by our use of resources, right? People can do very simple things. Bring your own cup, reusable cup. Don't do anything disposable that is plastic. Bring your own bags. Take your own, even like, for example, when I go to the halal meat, I will take my own containers. I tell them, they look at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, no, weigh my container, put it to 0, and then put the meat in it, and then give it back to me, because I don't want plastic. There is so much that you can do to reduce your, just like single-use plastic. I would say knowledge, and start there. The rest will come. You can sign up go to a co-op. I know a lot of people say because of finances that they can't. But nowadays you have access to also like sustainable brands. And one thing I tell people is you either vote with your dollar, or you vote both with your dollar by buying sustainable brands, and also you are informed and make policy change, because if we're not part of the decision making, things that are impacting us, how do we hope to make change?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And also nowadays, there are so many resources, even grants that are available for your place of businesses or schools. So for example, like, Somali restaurants.
Yeah.
I recommend for Somali restaurants to, seek out the sustainability resources through the city or state that will provide you, recycling bins and compost, and educate you about why it's important to help, your place be a safer place.
Absolutely. And also, I feel like as individuals, for example, we always take the easy way out, but it's like you are going to pay the true cost of whatever it is that you're doing sooner or later. You either pay it upfront through making sure that you're using the correct stuff. For example, let's say you use a to-go cup from a cafe. It is literally lined with plastic, and you're drinking chemicals. So you're going to pay that bill later in a hospital bill. You know, the cost of that like convenience, you're gonna pay it in the hospital bill in the form of like getting treated, because that you're like slowly poisoning your body by putting all these chemicals that are not supposed to be there. Every time you drink from a plastic bottle, you could be drinking microplastics. You know, is it going to impact you overnight? No, but you don't hope to like poison your body slowly. You know, so it's like you can be mindful of what you're putting into your body and where it comes from. And there's small things that you can do to adjust. You know, investing in it, for example. Even people give you cup discounts for taking your own cup. Yeah, you get 10 cents every time that, or, you know, but it's not so much about the money. Also, it's like, oh, this is just easier. I don't have to worry about it. No, you're polluting the environment and you're polluting your body, and it's going to impact you.
Yeah. You should write a book on this. See, I've been telling Nasrieen she needs to start her own podcast. So this is like a test trial, but this is definitely like, this needs its own, sustainability needs its own season, not even one episode. I think it needs multiple episodes to just talk about the importance and the value and why we need to care more.
Absolutely.
Especially because it's so important in our deen as well.
It is. It is. I think one thing that we don't realize is that we're very much interconnected between, you know, other human beings and also nature. We are cutting down trees that we need for, like, you need oxygen. Exactly. Trees need carbon dioxide and we need oxygen. So when we cut down trees, we're removing not only oxygen, but also our filtration system that filters out all the bad things that we have in the environment. And where does that end up? It ends up in our lungs and our bodies, and then we end up in the hospital. And so no matter what, it's just like Allah created it by design. The relationship between human beings, the animals, and everything in creation. And he tells us in the Quran, he says that I've created the earth in a perfect balance. So we're literally, when we are doing all these things to creation, it's like we're tipping the scales. Like Allah created the earth to be perfect and everything to be perfect within like the right proportion. You know, scientists might tell you, oh, like it's an accident or the Big Bang theory or whatever, or the earth is just the perfect distance from the sun, that we get the right amount of heat, or however else that they want to explain that. But Allah tells us in the Quran, He created it by design this way. So when we're looking for other planets to eventually, you know, migrate to, it makes no sense, because it's like we only have one earth that was created for us. So where are you going to go? Like, just take care of this one. Stop polluting it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Take care of this one. I love that. Absolutely. Yeah. So speaking of sustainability, Hiking Hijabi has merch and has coffee cups. I'm not holding it right now, but she has amazing coffee cups, sustainable coffee cups.
Yes.
Where can we find and how can we support you, and what do you have?
So we have Hiking Hijabi clothing, so anything that has our logo on it, and we create it for different kind of where people are at. We have longer ones that are like abaya, we have shorter ones that are like hoodies, we have ones that are for workout, but at the end of the day, it is a cultural representation of Muslims in the outdoors. So you can wear it to the gym, or you can wear it outside, or you can wear it to an event, or you can wear it to a hike,
on a podcast.
So it's really a way for us to be like, yes, we're in this space, and we want to be recognized as people who use, you know, are in nature and use nature. And we have also a hiking line along those lines. And then you can find it at REI, all 3 local REIs in Minnesota.
Which is, mashallah, congratulations. The fact
Thank
that
you.
you are in 3 REIs. And by the way, REI is a huge department store in Minnesota that has like outdoor
gear.
So
Yeah.
having a Muslim, and it's not a Muslim company, so having a Muslim
Yeah.
brand in these locations is super, super exciting.
Guess how I got in there?
How?
I went up there and he said, "Hey, this is my brand. This is who we are. We should be in your space." And they said, "Yeah."
See,
You
that's
just
what I like
asked.
about Nasrieen. That's the theme here is just ask. No,
Just ask.
don't care. Need to turn the music off, ask. You need to put your brand in a company, just go and ask. Have no fear.
Have no
What's the worst they
fear.
can say? No.
What is that saying?
Okay.
Closed mouths don't get fed.
Exactly. No, that's one thing. That's what I'm taking notes from you on. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I just went up to the manager and I told him, "Hey, we're in the outdoor space. This is who we are. I don't see people who look like us in here." And so he said, "Yeah, we'd love to carry your brand." And I showed him some samples and he took everything. And then from there, I went to the other 2 and I said, "Hey, we're in this location and you guys,
You guys should need to be in this location
we
too.
we need to be everywhere." And they're like, "Yes." So now we're in all 3 locations, alhamdulillah, and Rabata Cultural Center, which is a Muslim-owned bookstore and a women's space, women institute educating the next Muslim women leaders. And so 4 brick and mortar stores currently working on our online shop. I've gotten a lot of requests from people living outside of the US, specifically in Canada. A few from other countries. I am not shipping to Europe.
Not
For
yet.
right now.
Yeah, not yet.
For right now. It's
She's
not
only one
even, yeah,
person.
it's not, it's so expensive to ship to Europe. So I have actually, funny enough, a girl who's in our WhatsApp group was visiting Minnesota, but she lives in Europe.
Oh, so she went
So
and
when
took
she
the
came
orders.
here, she was like, somebody's coming, I want merch. So alhamdulillah, like, our logo is very unique.
It is.
Mashallah.
And this is such a cute logo. I was
Yeah.
just telling her, growing up, obviously really into cartoons, really into anime especially. So this was giving like a dark anime, like a Sailor Moon, but like the Islamic version. And it's
Yeah.
giving. It's 100% giving Hiking
Yeah.
Hijabi.
And the amazing story about this logo is on our 2nd year, I wanted, like, it was always my face on Instagram. And so I wanted a way to capture the essence of what the group represented. It was beyond, like, anything I could hope for and dream for. So I was trying to collect money to, hire somebody to do a logo. And my friend Amanah DM'd me and she was like, "I can help you create a logo." And so we stayed up, like, she texted me and she started doing things and I was like, no, like, I was like telling her what I wanted and what I didn't want. And so I would send her images and she would tweak it and she would tweak it. And one of the things that I remember that I really wanted was the image not to have a face.
Yeah.
Because having a face means having a skin color. And I wanted every Muslim sister, regardless of what skin color, to see herself in the, as the Hiking Hijabi. So our logo, as you can see, does not have a face. You just see the hijab
Yeah.
and, this amazing woman just standing there, doing her thing. And we want it to be very rugged.
Yeah.
We didn't want, like, just to, like, oh, I came to take a stroll up and down.
Yeah.
So it was very much intentional.
Powerful.
Yeah.
It's very powerful. It speaks
Yeah.
volumes.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Mashallah.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you, Amanah.
Yeah, shout out to her.
Yeah.
No, I feel like I can learn so much from you, and thank you so much for all that you do when it comes to creating a support group for our sisters. And we need 100 of you. We need 100 Nasreens.
We have Yusra, we have Malaika,
more
we have so
people.
many amazing sisters,
Thank you.
doing amazing work. And honestly, one thing that has helped me doing this and the thing that fills me, I always talk about how I'm doing this as a volunteer, but I have the support of, like, so many wonderful sisters who are always, like, there to help. And they're like, okay, Nasreen, what do you need? How can we help you? And sometimes I'm just like, I don't have a way to transfer all the things in my brain. I would ask for more help if I could, but it's just like there's too much going on inside my head that I need more like a flash drive to.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
I want to give a shout out to Fartoon Elmi, who has been there with me since the beginning, who was volunteering. Blair right now, Idil, Amal Muhammad, who's in California, Makia, and anybody else I'm forgetting. Amazing team, amazing board. Dilek is part of my board, and so is Malaika, and Brother Salad and Brother Ibrahim. And so it was really, really wonderful to have the support of this amazing community. And I would say I've seen more goodness than anything else doing this, and just the amount of DM du'as. Somebody saying, this is my dua answered. You have no idea that I did a dua and this is what I asked for. And then you started this group was just like insane.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
There's so much barakah in like what you've done. So,
Alhamdulillah.
mashallah.
Alhamdulillah.
Well, we always wrap up our episodes with what's one last piece of advice that you want to share with our viewers today. And it could be related to any of the topics that we talked about.
I think this is something that always comes up for me, especially being in the space. A lot of people ask me, do you really think what you're doing matters in the grand scheme of things when it comes to environmental sustainability and the way I live? They ask me, do you think really you reducing your waste is going to make a difference in when it comes to climate change? And my answer is that it doesn't really matter, but I have to answer to Allah at the end of the day. And He's not going to ask me whether or not my efforts change the world in terms of climate change, but He's going to ask me, did you do your part? And so for me, it's about doing my part. If Allah wanted to create a perfect, human beings who did everything, He would have. But dunya is a test, and we're all being tested for the choices that we make. And I want to be able to confidently answer, yes, I did my part. I did my best. And one of my favorite quotes is by Jenna Stanfield, and I live by it. And it says, I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do.
I love that.
So
that's deep.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, thank you. And you are doing your part, and you are making an impact. And to start from a group of 9 women into a group of 730,
just the women, the men we've added brothers. Yeah. So alhamdulillah, we're close to 900 in the
900, which is close to 1,000, and that to me is just insanely beautiful and remarkable. So thank you for all that you've done, and thank you, Nasrieen. You guys, Nasrieen, like a couple weeks ago, she's like, me just on a podcast, never. So today I'm just very excited. So before she changes her mind, let me wrap this up.
No, thank you so much. You made it very comfortable. And I'm glad you're the first podcast host.
First of many. You are gonna see Nasrieen plastered everywhere. Well, Hiking Hijabi and her brands. Yeah, the world's gonna know you, inshallah. And no, thank you for allowing us into your space. You guys, Underground Cafe is hers. Yes. And real quick, I want to give that a shout out to Underground Cafe is open for Muslim sisters.
We're might open for brothers too soon.
Okay.
The space is to just like co-work. We have a playroom for kids. We have a gym for sisters. And honestly, the sisterhood and the connections that you make here are just so valuable. Like I have entrepreneurs, I have CEOs, executive directors coming here, all supporting each other. Definitely abundance mindset, the people that come here. And honestly, I feel like-minded are attracted to each other. And so it kind of became also a hub for like people to just like network and connect and meet. And so it's been amazing. And a couple times a month, we do have events called Chai and Chat, which is a space for women to come together and, just hang out with other women. You need your girlfriend, you need your tribe.
Need time, yes.
And then we get sponsors to sponsor childcare. So we don't want to exclude mamas who have kiddos. So the playroom, we hire a babysitter. and then part of the cost of the childcare is sponsored by a either organization or individual, and then the other part is that the family pays about $5 for all their kids. So whether you have 5 kids or 1 kid, you pay $5, and then yeah, you just come. We play games. The next one will probably be like a poetry night. So if you want to do a mic night and come, and then we do have a game night where we invite also brothers to join. And so if brothers are interested in using the space, they're also welcome too.
Yes.
We don't want to exclude them. But right now it's just there's not a lot of safe spaces and just spaces that offer also childcare or space for kiddos to play for mamas who are working from home or students or have just kids and they want to get out of their house and be with other sisters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, thank you. I couldn't imagine anything like this. So to see something that you got to create is really, really honorable. So I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
We will invite you back. I was going to say, so inshallah, hopefully we'll see more of you. I will link your channels and your Instagram on our page, both on our Instagram and our YouTube. But yes, thank you once again. And how can we join your Hiking Hijabi or Hiking Ummah?
So to join the hiking, you have to be Muslim. That's the only condition. And then you just send me a message either on social media or you can email me at hikinghijabi@gmail.com and we will add you to the group chat. We do hike every Saturday. So on Instagram and TikTok, we have where we've been. And on the WhatsApp, we show where we're going to. I just want to, can I do a shout out really quick?
Absolutely.
Okay. So part of what I do through my organization is I'm also on the board of ARAHA. I got invited, I think, 2 years ago, just because of my work with them. I used to volunteer to sponsor orphans and help to try to raise funds for well digging. That's why I like Mr. Beast. So this year ARAHA is having their anniversary, and with everything that's going on in Sudan, I feel like we don't see a lot of news and support coming for the genocide in Sudan. So I would say please come to the ARAHA event. It is November 9th. I'll share on my Instagram, and we have a Sudan campaign right now. If you can donate to it, $5, $10, $20, whatever you can. We're trying to raise $10,000 to help with people who are displaced due to the genocide and also the famine in Sudan right now. ARAHA has people working on the ground to provide aid, medicine, and food and shelter to the community.
Yeah, thank you. Send me all that information so I can go ahead and share.
Perfect.
And inshallah, we'll go ahead and we'll post that on our social media and clip this part so we can get that information out. Yes. Well, thank you so much,
Thank you guys
Nasrieen, for joining Eat and Talk. And hopefully we'll see you again. And thanks everybody for watching. And please reach out to Nasrieen, aka Hiking Hijabi, if you have any questions and want to be a part of any of these movements that she has. Thanks for watching.